Oh yes, indeed. Time for us to get into money matters. Casper is here in the building with us. And of course, today we're discussing something very, very important. Right? We're discussing an important financial update that could impact your monthly budget and overall debt management. Matter of fact, it probably will impact your monthly budget and overall debt management. And of course, joining us to discuss this with us is the man himself from DCGsa. His name is Casper Lagrange. Good afternoon, Casper. Welcome back. Thank you so much. I feel like you should be welcoming me back because you were here last week. And how was it?
Welcome back, Mr. K. How does it feel to be back?
It feels fantastic, Casper. Thank you so much. And a massive shout out to Gary once again for holding it down.
Yeah, it was nice to see him. I haven't seen him forever. It was good. Good to catch up.
Absolutely.
But I didn't get your leave form, so I didn't even know you were away.
Casper. Did you guys do your coffee thing?
No. But you know, Lorna always spoils me with a coffee or water, so
okay.
I'm always treated.
Awesome. Great stuff. Say hello to Stella quickly.
Oh, Stella, good to. Oh, thanks for always listening. Doesn't matter if you're sick, raining, snowing, hailing, you always check in. We appreciate you as a listener, and that is why we're bringing this Money Matter show for dedicated listeners like Stella.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get straight into it, Casper. The repo rate was recently cut by 25 basis points. That's what we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks or so, bringing the prime lending rate down to 11.5%. Now, this comes alongside the encouraging news that if inflation is softening. So how does this affect the average South African household, especially those struggling with debt?
Mr. K, let me start it off negative and we ended off positive, eh?
Okay.
So I think it's too little too late for many consumer households, unfortunately. If you look at how much the middle class has been hit with inflation, with interest rate hikes, I mean, if you have a 2 million rand bond and you've got a 500,000 rand car that you owe the bank, average of 8,500 rand you've been paying extra over the last 2.5 years. So this reduction is very welcomed, but the impact, unfortunately, for struggling consumers is there's too little. You know, how are they? There's no real movement. With the higher debt repayments, the repo rate cut means lower interest rates on loans and credit, making it easier for households to pay back, but still they're very much over-indebted. And at the same time, you know, we've got inflation coming down significantly, down to 4.4% in August. And that obviously reduces the cost of living. But, you know, I always use the white bread in my talks. A white bread last year was 17 Rand 99 cents. Now it's almost 21 Rand 99 cents on average. Some places you'll pay less, some places you'll pay more, but that's still significant. You know, how does the average household keep up? But these factors together provide much needed relief. Eventually consumers can start saying, I don't have to stress so much. I'm still stressing, but not so much. It's coming down eventually.
Absolutely. Now, the decline in Consumer Price Index, which is CPI, is another positive signal as it indicates that prices are becoming more stable. Question is, how does this all tie into debt review, particularly for those who were previously considered too over-indebted to qualify?
Exactly, Mr. K. With both interest rates and inflation dropping, many consumers will find that their affordability has improved. In the past, some people were just too over-indebted to actually even qualify for debt review. So they were seeking help, but they couldn't qualify for help. So now their income, you know, just keeps on reducing and their debt just keeps on increasing because people didn't get much increases either. And inflation has just gone up, so the cost of living has gone up, the debt repayment's gone up. So when they asked for help, they just couldn't get it. So now it's a perfect time with the lower inflation rate, with the lower interest rates. Those people can actually now qualify for something like debt review, and they can get that much needed relief. Their financial circumstances might look a lot different. Looking up, the economy is looking positive, consumer inflation is looking positive, the fuel price is looking positive, but they still just can't afford life. So it's a great time for consumers to reassess their situation, go seek assistance, go look at your budget, and now make a plan, because now we know things are starting to come down again.
Fantastic news, very encouraging, Casper. But for someone who's been denied debt review before, what should they do now? Is it a good time to try again?
I would definitely recommend that they approach a registered debt counselor. And on top of being a registered debt counselor, make sure they are a full member with an association. You just need that support. Make sure that debt counselor is an upstanding debt counselor. They know what they're doing, and get a fresh assessment done. Have a fresh look at things. The reduced interest rates mean that your debt repayments are likely to be lower than before. So interest rates coming down, debt counselor can even do more. The combined with the soft inflation rate could mean that you have more disposable income, and therefore might now qualify for debt review, even though previously you couldn't qualify. It's important not to lose hope, especially in times like these where the economic landscape is shifting in your favor. So we're seeing the sunrise. We're hoping it's going to keep being a beautiful day outside, and the rain stays away, and the cloudiness and the dark, droopy days of high interest rates, high inflation is now past us, and the glimmer of hope is approaching our consumer.
Fantastic. I'd like for us to just backtrack a little bit, Casper, because we're talking CPI, we're talking all these things. But let's just dial it back a bit for the listener who may not be familiar with debt review. Okay, can you briefly explain how debt review actually works and why it's such a powerful tool for somebody struggling with debt?
Oh, definitely. Debt review is a legal process, Mr. K, designed to help over-indebted consumers by basically restructuring their debt repayments. So essentially, we look at your total income and expenditure, and we negotiate with your credit providers in reducing your monthly payments based on what you can afford. It also protects the consumer from further legal action by credit providers. So while you're under debt review, your payments are up to date, your credit providers can't do anything. Most consumers, they're 3-4 months behind with the high interest rates, the inflation. They must choose between putting bread on the table or paying their debts. And unfortunately, over the last 2 years, it's become more tough and tough and tough. So this process will protect you now. You don't need to lose your car. You don't need to lose your house. You can put food on the table and repay back your debt. And with the recent interest rate cut, it makes the process even more effective because your repayments are likely to be even lower. So much more breathing room. Like I say, that glimmer of hope, that sunrise on the horizon is there. So it leaves room for the consumer to breathe and to know their debts are paid.
Sounds like debt review could be a major game changer for many households, especially those with these economic improvements. So how should listeners get started if they want to see if they qualify for debt review right now?
Well, Mr. K, it's actually very simple. Consumers can contact a registered debt counselor, not only registered with the National Credit Regulator, but make sure they are a full member of an association, just like myself and others in the industry, for a free assessment. Doesn't sign you up for anything, assesses your situation, tells you what your situation is, helps you with the budget, and we'll look at your whole financial situation, and if you qualify and if all the conditions are met, that you can benefit through this process. So lower interest rates and reduced inflation makes it easier for many to finally access this very wonderful process called debt relief.
Sounds great. Casper, before we wrap up, are there any last words, words of advice that you would like to offer to those listening?
I think it's now a unique opportunity for consumers to really grab hold of this process and to take action. Reassess your debt situation, tackle it head on, get an assessment done, regain control over your finances. We're heading into that festive season. We're heading into that spending season. We saw, and I'm going to touch on this naughty word, the two-pot system, where people, have bought relief, for a month or two. They've taken their money, and we're seeing it's a middle class that really need assistance through the debt relief space that has utilized that two-pot system. They've paid some of their credit card. It's just going to buy them a month or two. They're going to head into Black Friday. They're going to head into Christmas. They're going to head into January, and they are going to be so overspent. They're going to be completely drowning. So use this great opportunity that you have now. While things are still, semi under control, you're feeling a little bit of relief, but sometimes we see the consumer, when they get a little bit of relief, they overspend. So don't overspend now. Understand your budget. Get hold of a debt counselor. Get everything under control. Make that call today. Get onto our website, www.dcgsa.co.za. Click to WhatsApp, click to call. Get your budget on the budget page done. Send it through to one of our consultants. Get a free credit check. Know what your debts are standing at. Understanding it, and get it all in black and white. And if you don't understand it, that's what we're there for. We're there to help you with the budget. We're there to help you with the assessment. Tell you what is your options, and tackle it now before Christmas is here. And you drown completely.
That's the key, isn't it?
Keep that golden horizon.
Wise words indeed. Casper, thank you so much for coming through. Always a great pleasure having you. And listen, I really, really appreciate what you've been sharing here, Casper. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for these valuable insights. And to our listeners, if you're feeling the pressure of debt, now is the time to take a step and see if you indeed do qualify for debt review. And of course, with the recent economic shifts, it just might be the break that you need. Casper, let's have that financial scripture.
Thank you, Mr. K. And I'm hoping Stella will probably have noticed, because she listens week in, week out. But I've been hammering on the scripture. And I want you to listen. I've been hammering on the scripture. So, Proverbs 21 verse 5. The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. So before you spend that extra 300 or whatever rand you've been saving on the interest rate reduction, go make a plan with your budget. Get it completely under control. Get your plans in place, because that will lead to profit, and haste will lead to poverty.
Sure. Casper Lagrange, thank you so much for coming through, debt counselor and experts on financial matters. Be sure to explore your options if you're dealing with financial stress, and help might just actually be closer than you think. So do stay tuned right here to Link FM, where we not only link you to Jesus, but we give you the best when it comes to breaking down your finances and taking a keen look at the economic situation in this country, and helping you make the best financial decisions for your future as well, with the assistance of DCGsa. Casper, see you next week.
Have a blessed one, Mr. K.
You are coming next week, right?
I hope so. God willing.
Because I'll be here.
Yeah, well, God willing, I'll be here too.